I'm Susan. Standing at the podium of the Global Fashion Summit, I look out at the room filled with industry leaders and sustainability pioneers. My family is sitting in the front row, their expressions a mix of shock and awe. My sister, Lily, fidgets with her visitor's badge, a far cry from her former high-profile status in the fashion world. My dad, Mr. Thompson, keeps adjusting his tie, still trying to come to terms with how I, the daughter he once thought was wasting her talent, have transformed modern fashion. 6 months ago, my life was very different. I grew up in a well-to-do family in New York. My dad, Mr. Thompson, was a traditional fashion mogul, with a long-standing reputation for his high-end fashion brands. He always valued exclusivity and luxury, and believed that real fashion was about catering to the elite. My mom, Mrs. Thompson, was a well-known fashion editor for a top-tier magazine. She was used to being in the spotlight and had a sharp tongue when it came to criticizing what she considered sub-standard fashion. My sister, Lily, 30 years old, had followed in my parents' footsteps and owned a chain of exclusive boutiques in Manhattan. I, on the other hand, had a different vision. I was passionate about sustainable fashion. While my parents and sister were all about the glitz and glamour of traditional luxury fashion, I was in a small converted garage, working day and night on my project to create sustainable luxury clothing. One day, it was the annual Thompson Family Gala. The event was a dazzling affair, filled with fashion elite. Crystal chandeliers illuminated the room, and waiters carried glasses of champagne that probably cost more than my monthly material budget. Lily was wearing a designer gown and adjusting her Fashion Week VIP badge, looking every bit the successful fashion entrepreneur. Mom was touching her magazine contributor pin, a symbol of her status in the fashion world. I was busy setting up the event space when I heard Lily's voice from across the room. "Still playing with your little sewing machine, Susan?" She sneered. I quickly tucked my phone away, on which messages from my production team had been lighting up the screen. The launch of my sustainable luxury collection was just around the corner, and everything was almost ready. Mom also joined in. She sighed and said, examining her manicure, "Darling, you had a great opportunity at a top magazine. Your sister runs these amazing boutiques in Manhattan. And you're making clothes in a tiny garage? What a waste of your potential." I calmly replied, "Actually, I'm developing a new approach to sustainable luxury. Our launch tomorrow will revolutionize the fashion industry." Lily burst out laughing. "Sustainable? Real fashion happens in Paris and Milan. When was the last time you even went to a proper fashion event? As a guest, I mean, not just some researcher." "Last month," I said. "I was there studying manufacturing waste for my research." My dad adjusted his expensive Italian silk tie and said seriously, "The Thompson name means something in fashion. We've been industry leaders for generations, and you're squandering it on this so-called sustainable project." I didn't let their words get to me. Instead, I continued, "What we're doing is changing the industry. We've developed revolutionary materials that will make luxury fashion more sustainable." Lily scoffed, "My stores change fashion every season. Real designs, real customers. How many pieces have you even sold?" Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was another message from the launch team, confirming that everything was set. Lily then said, "I need a stock manager at my new boutique. It's an entry-level position, but at least it's real fashion work." I politely declined, "Thank you, but I'm very satisfied with my current work. The announcement will be in just 2 hours." Mom's voice rose sharply, "Thompsons aren't satisfied with mediocrity. We set trends, and we don't waste time on small-scale projects." At that moment, the event coordinator approached nervously. "Miss Thompson, the editor-in-chief of the top fashion magazine is asking for you." Mom waved dismissively, "Tell her I'll be there shortly. We're discussing Susan's career choices." The coordinator stammered, "Actually, ma'am, they're asking for Susan Thompson." The room fell silent. Lily quickly said, "There must be some mistake. Susan doesn't deal with top magazines. She makes clothes in a garage." I slowly stood up and removed my event staff apron. "Actually, I deal with them quite often. Our sustainable luxury line has redefined high fashion." Mom's champagne glass trembled. "Sustainable what?" Just then, the event screen came alive with breaking news: revolutionary fashion empire launches the industry's youngest designer of the year. I looked at my family and said, "While you were all focused on traditional luxury, we were revolutionizing fashion. That little garage you dismissed is now the most advanced sustainable design facility in the world." Lily whispered in disbelief, "But you work in a garage." "Yes," I replied. "Creating a collection that just changed fashion as we know it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a launch to prepare for. The magazine's editor is waiting." 3 hours later, at the launch venue, the atmosphere was electric. The front row seats, which once hosted fashion royalty, were now filled with editors from every major magazine. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I saw my family arriving, their faces pale from the shock at the gala. My creative director, Ms. Green, approached me with a tablet. "The collection metrics are final. Would you like to review them before the show?" I nodded and scanned the data. While they'd been pursuing traditional luxury, we'd been quietly making waves in the fashion industry. All those late nights in the garage had advanced sustainable manufacturing beyond what they thought was possible. Dad entered first, his Italian silk tie suddenly looking out of date. Lily followed, her boutique chain credentials seeming insignificant compared to our global launch. Mom clutched her magazine contributor pin, her influence in the fashion world about to take a major hit. I took the podium, a place where Mom had held sway for decades. "Today marks a new era in fashion," I announced. The screens behind me lit up with our sustainable luxury metrics. Dad's face tightened as he recognized manufacturing processes he'd dismissed as amateurish years ago. I continued, "Our launch isn't just another collection. It's a complete reimagining of how luxury fashion is created." As the next slide showed sustainability stats, comparing traditional luxury with our new methods, the numbers were astonishing. "We've achieved zero waste with premium materials," I stated, watching Lily's confidence crumble. "More importantly, every piece is both sustainable and accessible." Mom's perfectly manicured hands trembled. She'd bragged so many times about Lily's exclusive boutiques. I went on, "We're also making our sustainable manufacturing process open source. Every designer and brand in the world can adopt our methods." Dad nervously touched his designer watch. He understood the implications. "This naturally changes the fashion landscape," I announced. "The traditional approach of wasteful luxury production is obsolete. We've democratized high fashion." Lily stammered, "But luxury has always." I interrupted her, "That ends today. Our data shows better quality from our little garage than all major fashion houses combined." The editors and the industry watching via live stream nodded in understanding. I asked, "Questions?" Dad slowly raised his hand, his fashion authority clearly diminishing. I cut in, "The manufacturing process is fully documented. Every technique, every material, every innovation has been verified by independent experts worldwide." Lily's face flushed. "You can't possibly have created this in a garage. You're just I corrected her, "Just a designer who revolutionized sustainable luxury." "The collection works, Lily. It works better than anything your exclusive boutiques have ever sold." Mom finally found her voice. I assured her, "The Thompson fashion legacy will be stronger than ever, just not in the way you imagined. Our legacy will be measured in innovation and accessible luxury that doesn't harm the planet." The presentation continued for another hour. I detailed the manufacturing process, the materials science, and the distribution strategy. With each passing minute, I watched my family's fashion worldview shatter. After the launch, Lily lingered, staring at the collection. These pieces are really completely sustainable, she said. I adjusted a display and replied, that garage you mocked has changed fashion history. Your boutiques will need to adapt. Fashion isn't about exclusivity anymore, it's about responsible innovation. Dad then approached, straightening his tie. Luxury brands have always led fashion, he protested. I corrected him, luxury brands have made us focus on exclusivity while ignoring sustainability. That ends now. He still argued, we're still fashion leaders. I reminded him, and I'm still working, but in a place that just produced the biggest innovation since ready-to-wear. Interesting how things turned out, isn't it? Mom tried one last time to downplay my success. But I cut her off, the fashion community is already adopting our methods. Those designs you ridiculed have revolutionized luxury fashion. Every major brand is rushing to follow our lead. The venue gradually emptied, leaving my family standing there, looking at the collection in disbelief. Their world of exclusive fashion had been turned upside down by the daughter they'd dismissed as a hobbyist. I announced, the Paris Fashion Week opening show is next month. Don't be late. Oh, and Lily, you might want to update your boutique's philosophy. The new one is sustainable luxury for all. I'll have our manifesto sent to your office. 6 months have passed since then. I'm now in my expanded design facility, a state-of-the-art innovation center dedicated to sustainable luxury. It's a far cry from the old garage that was once mocked. My phone buzzes again. It's another message from Lily, it's her 10th this week. I can wait to reply. Family dynamics have become less important compared to the goal of transforming global fashion. My innovation director, Ms. Green, appears on the smart glass. The global impact data is in. Fashion waste has dropped 85% in participating brands. I nod, reviewing the holographic statistics floating in front of me. Traditional luxury houses are quickly becoming obsolete. The Garage project has proven what I've always believed, true luxury can be both sustainable and accessible. Ms. Green adds, your sister's boutique chain has requested another meeting about our materials. I'm not surprised. Since the launch, Lily has been desperately trying to align her stores with our philosophy. Her exclusive boutiques now seem so old-fashioned compared to our innovative approach. Schedule them for next month, after we announce the biodegradable luxury fiber, I decide. Just then, the door opens, and Mom enters, wearing a newly acquired sustainable fashion consultant outfit. Susan, darling, these results are extraordinary, she says. I reply, manipulating a 3D model of our next innovation, just the beginning. Wait until you see what's coming. She watches the design teams below, working seamlessly with our revolutionary materials. We never understood what you were building here, did we? I agree, no, you were too focused on exclusivity to see the future of fashion. Mom hesitates and then says, Lily's boutiques are struggling to stay relevant. I acknowledge, change is difficult, especially when you've built your brand on an outdated model. But she's welcome to join our innovation program. The intercom buzzes. Miss Thompson, the Global Fashion Summit is ready for your keynote. In the auditorium, I stand in front of the audience. I turn on the hologram and say, let's begin. Topic, democratizing sustainable luxury. The data fills the room, proving our success worldwide. I explain, old-fashioned hierarchies held us back. By choosing sustainability over exclusivity, we've achieved what luxury brands never could. As I speak, Lily stops writing, her boutiques now looking so small in comparison. Dad's hands shake as the numbers reveal the harm of the old methods. I announce, next quarter, we're launching the Global Fashion Initiative, offering free access to our process for any brand ready to change. Mom's calm exterior finally cracks. She once mocked my simple work, but now the world can see the impact I've made. I ask, questions? There's silence until Lily raises her hand. Yes, Miss Thompson. Your process. Could you teach me? I want to learn. I see real curiosity in her eyes. Of course. Innovators share, collaborate, and change industries. My team smiles at the irony. After the summit, Dad lingers. Susan, your work is greater than our family's entire legacy. I reply, that's why it's open source. Fashion isn't about exclusivity, it's about impact. That evening, I watched the designers in my office working on our next big idea. My phone lights up with the news, Thompson Protocol transforms global fashion. I smile, remembering Lily's sneer about my little sewing machine. We've changed everything. Sustainable production, accessible luxury, and new standards have been set. The garage experiments have grown into a worldwide movement, and fashion has truly entered a new era of responsibility.